Welcome back to the beginning prior to my awakening. I'm your host, Mental Stimulant, the Divine Empress, and I come through today to share some wisdom with you guys to help some that need it gain a greater understanding. I spent most of my morning today meditating and becoming one with the divine order. And it was put on me that I should share this information. So, sharing this information is what I will do. At one time, God said, I am the beginning and the end, the first and the last. He said, I am simply I am. In another passage, God acknowledges that he will be called by many names. The reason for this is when he spoke to different covenants of his people, he presented himself and called himself, for lack of a better understanding, the keeper of whatever was of need at that time. For example, in the beginning, during the creation of the earth, he referenced himself as Elohim. It means the creator in Hebrew. Elon, which means high God. Adonai to mean Lord Master. Some whom are aware or have been taught in their tradition to call the Most High by these names still do. And the list goes on and on. Let me continue. We must remember that religion and spirituality goes hand in hand. There are traditions that have been going on since the beginning of creation. Some, over time, have lost these traditions because we were taught different traditions, and some have strayed away from their original traditions. But remember me saying this to you. You cannot have religion without spirituality. You cannot have spirituality without religion. Some people are more one than the other, but they both go hand in hand. The Most High God prepares us internally for our growth and our eternity with him. We must seek him and welcome him, then this can begin. To begin our own personal journey with our Father. And I promise you, there's nothing more fulfilling. When I say nothing more fulfilling, you can go on all the trips, see all the exotic places, get all the orgasms you could ever think of, use substances to get higher than you ever been. But there is nothing more fulfilling than walking in purpose and having such a closeness relationship with your Father. And I say this from experience. Right now, at this stage of my life, I can do without nothing. But the only thing I cannot do without is my Father turning his back on me. Because as long as I can cleave to his bosom and speak to him, I have everything I could ever want. But I'm getting off subject. Let me continue. During this time when God calls us, most of us rebel. When we start to get those sixth sense thoughts of maybe I shouldn't do this or maybe I shouldn't do that. That is God speaking to us eternally. But what do? We don't listen to our inner voice. We just go past that and do what we want. Because most times we are physical. We're in this flesh. We allow the flesh to lead. So we are tempted by our flesh all the time. I tell you now, you're only standing in your way of your own true happiness. The things that we have or see or indulge in that we think make us happy, you haven't experienced true happiness. Most don't even know what true happiness is. Most don't know what would make them happy. The Most High seeks to free us from bondage of this 3D matrix because it was all just to cover our eyes, to keep us blind. Just as he sent his son to free his people, remember, there is nothing new under the sun. The only thing that has changed is the times. I want to speak briefly about prayer. Prayer is a two-way dialogue, conversation between you and your Father. Your way of picking up the telephone and dialing pops up like, yo, Pop, I need to speak to you right now, and lay whatever that's bothering you or any aspect of your life that you just want to communicate with him on to gain a greater understanding or whatever it is. Prayer is your point of contact. To clearly hear his response, you must get in tune. When we pray, we sometimes think that Father doesn't hear us. Oh, he hears us. And sometimes instead of giving us what we want, he seeks to show us why we're asking for something which isn't good for us. You got to understand, he's the creator of all things. He loves his creation, so else he wouldn't have created them. He wants nothing but the best for us. No matter how much we beg or cry, he will not give us something that's not good for us. Unless, of course, you're the hard-headed type and he has to teach you in a different manner to where you have to touch the stove to know it's hot. You understand? So, remember, we must change our perspective, for his thoughts is not our thoughts. And briefly, I want to shout out to the NewberryObserver.com. They have some insightful information on their site that's really uplifting. And after I continue my study, as far as the names that God has presented his people over the times with, I will share them with you guys because we need to understand. You know, a lot of times when we hear people speak of God in another name, that's not right. That's not right. You don't know that. So we must be compassionate to each other because not near one of us know everything. Lots of us don't even go seek the knowledge for ourselves before we speak on something we don't know about. We just regurgitate false information that was given to us by people who didn't know themselves. We got to stop that. We got to get better at understanding and seeking him for ourselves. You can't listen to what everybody says. Some people are misleading on purpose. If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything. I want you guys to be blessed and have a great day.